Thanks for staying tuned to the Africa Independent Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. Thank God we are here again, and we thank God for life. I know all over the world, there's one particular topic that is very, very topical, which is the issue of the coronavirus, COVID-19. A lot of things have been said about it, a lot of things have been heard about it, so many fake news everywhere. People are worried and disturbed. Here in Nigeria and Africa, people are disturbed. A lot of people have lost hope, saying that if it becomes a major issue in Africa, everybody will be dead. But there is hope in Africa, really. I think we are showing that there's a better way to do things, in spite of what is happening even in developed countries. So, on a cheering news, the index case, the Italian man that brought the coronavirus to Nigeria is free from it, tested negative, and already he's been discharged in the hospital, like you can see in the video. A lot of people had expressed doubts that it never happened. We must say kudos to those health practitioners, those who rallied around to ensure that once again Nigeria is coming up tops. Some people never believe it was here, but the Nigerian government, the medical personnel kept to the ethics of not revealing the identity of their patients. And here we can say that it's a good news once again. Just like we defeated Ebola, now there's a sign that Nigeria can also defeat coronavirus, a good hope. I already have in the studio with me Dr. Emeka Kainebi, a medical practitioner. He was here with us at the onset of this issue of coronavirus. He's here again. You can see, how do you feel as a medical practitioner in Nigeria, here in Nigeria, to say this?
I'm actually thrilled to hear such news. It's actually just, like you said, a glimmer of hope. And that's actually what we need right now in country. We do need Nigerians, we do need the world to start, as a foundation of whatever information that has been put out there, hope, because that's all we need. That's all we can thrive on as a nation. That's all we can thrive on as in the world, basically, is that hope. And we Nigerians and other people just need to, work on that, and then just keep on with the messages of what to do, of the information out there, and that should be limited as well to other people. But basically, what should always override that is hope.
We must say kudos to everybody that made sure that this happened. The governor of Lagos State did a yeoman's job. Those from the medical facility at Lafarge up to everywhere. In short, I must say kudos to Nigerians once again. And this will be much cheering news, and it's a hope, like my guest did say. But we'll come back to look at the issue of yesterday. There was this news about chloroquine tablets, and people are buying up all the chloroquines from the shelves, from the market. Some people are already getting themselves overdosed with chloroquine. We'll talk with him about what really is this craze about this chloroquine issue. But that will be after this report from the Nigerian Army. Sit back as we bring you the report from the Nigerian Army.
Late January and early February 2020, the government of Borno State expressed some critical views about the operations of the military in the state and the seeming resurgence of attacks by the terrorist group Boko Haram. Many had expressed fears of breakdown in communications and working relationships between the Nigerian military and the Borno State government. But in the bright Monday morning, 16th March 2020, the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, breezed into the headquarters of the Nigerian Army for a thank-you visit and strategic meeting with the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai. During his visit, which many said is long overdue, the governor has this to say.
Why I came here is purposely for me to conceptualize our ideas on how we should strengthen the existing system of the the nexus between peace, security, and development need not to go on both sides. Once there is no peace, there is no security. Once there is no security, there is no development. Therefore, government and all levels need to support issues of security, which is very paramount.
To demonstrate his readiness in working with the state government, the Chief of Army Staff thanked the governor for his visit and pledged the Nigerian Army readiness to take the fight to the camps of the terrorists with the support of the government and the people.
Most sincerely, thank you, Your Excellency, for finding time to be here despite your tight schedules, and we assure you that synergy will work together all other security agencies and indeed the government and other non-governmental organizations to ensure that we achieve the objective that we were deployed there and by the services, military and other government agencies were certain to achieve. Lastly, I want to most sincerely thank you also for all the support, the solicited support and the unsolicited support which we've been providing to the theater command and engagement to the army. This has done a great, leap towards ameliorating some of these immediate challenges that the troops are facing.
Recounting the capacity of the Nigerian Army in winning the war against insurgency and terrorism, a former Director Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired, in an interview with Security Watch Africa, stressed on the effectiveness of the Nigerian Army super camp strategies and community support.
The situation, as you can see, thankfully, the military is up and doing, particularly the Nigerian Army. You can see that they have been now taking the fight to the, terrorist enclave wherever they might be. And that's a good sign that things are changing for the better. And even as at that time, really, the issue was people tend not to understand the fact that as time evolved, situations also evolve in which you have to change your tactics. And by and large, it's just a question of giving the military all the necessary support and understanding they require to enable them succeed. Because if we don't, who else will do this job for us? And thankfully, they are doing it very well. They have done it elsewhere. And of course, if you look at it from 2015 to date, the tremendous effort being put in place is so wonderful that we have the peace we have now. And if you look at it, fighting terrorism and insurgency is something that even the so-called developed countries are really grappling with it. But Nigeria, we have even made record in the sense that, within the 10 years, we are able to, degrade the Boko Haram terrorists. You have not had, the attacks that had happened in Metele, Obaga, and so many other places now. The super camps are up and doing, and of course, the commanders, they have brought in renewed vigor. Now they go on patrol, they hunt these criminal, elements instead of waiting for the criminal elements to come. They are the one looking for them with the information being provided by the society. So basically, it's quite helpful. All the super camps, of course, you are a living witness to the recent, wonderful efforts in which quite a number of terrorists were neutralized, particularly their leadership, and quite a number of equipment were also recovered from them. So I believe the super camp are working, and it's a step in the right direction too.
Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Abuja.
Welcome back. That was a report on what the army is doing to ensure that the war against insurgency and terrorism is finally won. And it's good that the Borno State government and the Nigerian Army leadership is working together to ensure that the final push that this insurgency are pushed out of our territory. But the good news again is that this insurgents and terrorists are also being affected by coronavirus.
Yes,
all over the world,
yes,
there's a
reported
reduction in attacks. Yeah. Criminality is also zero now.
Yes, because everybody wants to live.
Everyone wants to live. That really is the point. Yes. But everybody wants to live. Would that justify reasons why a lot of people are going to the pharmacies to buy up all the chloroquine tablets and drinking it overdose? So is that right?
So Patrick, I think that's the biggest epidemic we're facing right now. It's the epidemic of fear, epidemic of panic, and the epidemic of anxiety. That's what's happening right now. There's just a lot. People are, and it just shows how man can be so self-absorbed and centered. Because, like I said, everybody wants to live, but at what cost? All right, so now you don't have coronavirus. This has not even been approved by the FDA for the treatment or even prevention of coronavirus. But you're having people en masse go to stores without prescriptions, and it also shows you the failure of some of our health systems in the country, because I don't have prescriptions, but I can walk into a pharmacy and get a drug in bulk. And then people who need this, let's not forget that chloroquine, even though we don't use it so much for malaria anymore, but for things like rheumatoid arthritis, systemic lupus erythematosus, and other things, it's still what is being used. So what happens to our patients who need these drugs and are not available because somebody's hoarding them? And this is not just with the drug. This is with everything. Essential commodities, hand sanitizers, toilet paper, face masks. Even in the US, face masks are now scarce.
It's now a very guarded item.
Exactly.
Really, it shows that human nature, some say it's self-centered and selfish, but we should care for each other.
We should care for each other. I think that is one of the big issues right now. I think it's now letting the world know that we need each other.
Okay. Now, we'll talk about how we would need each other, but let's also find out what the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja officials, leadership are doing in making sure that the capital of Nigeria is also safe. Security Watch Africa, as Peggy Agbe also was with the officials of the Federal Capital Territory Management, and this is what they have to say.
In the FCT, definitely we've done a lot about sensitizing the public. Our team, even right now as I'm talking to you, we have teams in the markets, we have teams in schools, motor parks. We've gone to quite a number of schools in the FCT. Our members have also been mandated to sensitize in their various places of worship, and this is still ongoing. So I think it's a good step in the right direction. Border closure is not the only thing that would curtail this pandemic. Of course, apart from the border closure, we need to add other measures. Of course, we've been talking about the social distancing. We've been talking about educating people about cough etiquette, hand washing, that cannot be overemphasized. Everyone must form that habit of hand washing or using the alcohol-based hand rubs, and avoid contact with someone who is visibly sick of any form of respiratory tract infection.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is your program, Security Watch Africa, only on this channel, the Africa Independent Television, AIT. You get that information to keep your life safe and secure. Like you heard, what is being done in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, the capital of Nigeria, to ensure that is being prevented and the spread is limited or not at all in Abuja. Thankfully, we don't have it in Abuja yet. And just yesterday, there were a lot of social media news that it was positive in Abuja. People were worried. Please tell me, as the medical experts are doing to ensure that this thing is taken care of, what should people do? Because fake news seems to even be the most troubling one.
Yes, I think that's another weapon, I don't know, that is being just deployed by all sorts. Instagram, all forms of social media are carrying different news, either to get popularity. In fact, even some celebrities are using this as some form of, attention-seeking event, which it shouldn't be. The problem with fake news is more dangerous is because people go, again, it's the panic. It's the panic and hopelessness that it's trying to permeate the environment. And once this happens, actually, that's what's going to trigger the spread. Because just a couple of days, I knew a lot of people were stocking their homes for commodities so that in case there's a shutdown, they don't have enough. Now, people ran, again, en masse into shopping malls. And that just contradicts the whole idea of the social distancing. And then you get to touch trolleys that other people have touched. You're at close proximity to other people. It's congested. And then you perpetuate the spread. Another thing that is now, like I mentioned, as an epidemic is depression. A lot of people, we just saw on the news, somebody in Lagos who went to the mosque to pray and it was locked. A lot of people in country, especially in Africa and Nigeria, depend so much on the religious aspect of things to keep their sanity, the mental health. But that is being taken away from people. People are unsure of going to church or the mosque, and this would eventually lead to depression. And a lot of people would lead to other illnesses as well. They'll get to have other illnesses like hypertension, diabetes, will all come up because of this pandemic. So we have to be very careful about the news going out. And I would actually want to plead to the Africa Independent Television and other social media out there that underline every message of the facts, okay? You know, this case found here, this suspected case, what to do, hand washing, social distancing, self-isolation, that's another big one, we'll talk about that. Please undergird all your information with hope that this will come to pass, okay? And that's very essential.
But it seems that a lot of Nigerians, maybe I may not be accurate, but so many Nigerians are afraid that Nigerian health system is bad, and so that is why they seem to be hopeless. They are worried that if it comes here, Nigerians are gone.
I think, yes, and they might be right in their own thinking that, you know, we are not prepared, because if countries like Italy and Spain and even the US and the UK are having, you know, increased cases and all of that compared to Nigeria, and that fear looms, it's understandable. But at the heart of that, what do we do? What do we do with each other? And I keep saying, thank goodness it's not something in the air. I was telling you that outside the studio. And thank God it's not transmitted by an insect, because what would we have done in that regard? But it's something that we can do by ourselves to present. Just, you know, do a lot of prevention, and then just keep hoping. Keep hope alive. And you know what? A lot has been done in these same developed countries to come up with a solution. Very soon, I promise you. It's just been about 3 weeks, right? Since I was here the last time.
Talking about hope and good news. It's so surprising. China is not recording fresh
new cases. Exactly, and people aren't.
This can be controlled.
There is hope, and that's what everybody's doing. And I want to thank first of all, I'd like to just thank the healthcare workers, the frontline workers, and just including the people who even man the gates, even the gate man at the clinics. You are exposed to constantly these kinds of issues in your hospitals and facilities, doctors, nurses, and even CHUs, and all cadres of healthcare workers, and they aren't closing down the hospitals. They're seeing every client, both with those who have somewhat of TB, pneumonias, and all of that, which could as well be COVID, but they're there taking care of our clients. I salute you, as well as even our government, because some of these restrictions that were put down, you won't believe it, but has been able to curb some form of entry into the country, and which is very good.
Because I was going to ask, what is it that Nigeria government or Nigerians have done right? Because it seems we are still limited to the number.
Exactly. You know, so I think basically, people have talked about the environment and how it doesn't, you know, help, you know, the growth and the spread of the virus. Okay, that's on the side. But again, we sometimes, I'll just say, think about it, how we controlled Ebola. You know, so even with our crippling health systems, it came, but somehow we held it back.
Like I always say, people, the Nigerian factor is always so strong.
It's always strong, and that's what I pray that, you know, social media doesn't break. It's that hope. The Nigerians or Africans in ourselves are very resilient. We just have a fighting spirit. There's nothing that we feel can take us down. And I want to encourage everybody to keep that hope alive and keep that strength alive, that we will overcome this just as well.
All right, we'll come back to you. Viewers, if you are joining us, you can join us on our social media platform. The Twitter account is there, the email is there, so that we can communicate. If you have any particular question you want to ask our guest, Dr. Kanebi, here, so that we can take it up. Though we know that time is our problem, is a challenge here, but I think whatever little time we have, we can use it well. We also have on screen, I think it will be displayed on screen, the toll-free number you can reach, the numbers you can use to get across to the National the NCDC. There are so many numbers there for WhatsApp and all that. I think if you can see clearly, in case you have any suspect any incident, because last time you appeared, we wanted to give out these numbers,
Exactly.
and so people can actually reach. But there's one thing again that they are pleading. I was talking with one of them. He said so many people call these numbers to test if the number is working. And so this is blocking other people from getting through. And they will beg people, please, okay, thank you, it's working. Drop, let other people call. But people are just calling.
It's panic. It's panic. It's fear. It's the same anxiety. And I keep, and like I said, I know after this, there'll be a lot of that kind of, imagine messages like that. There's hope. Wash your hands, there's hope.
Yes.
Wash your hands, keep faith alive, you know. We will come through, we'll overcome this. And that's very critical. And, you know, just for also talking about fake news, I'd advise everybody to also go online to registered and approved websites that give information in Nigeria, the WHO, the CDC, you know. So, for example, in Nigeria, we have the NCDC. And their website. So, basically, www.covid19.
Federal Ministry of Health.
Federal Ministry of Health. So, we have approved websites and online resources that you can use that are approved so you don't spread rumors, you're not affected by what WhatsApp is saying or what somebody else is saying, so that we're getting the right information out there. And please, when you send it, tag it with a glimmer of hope.
All right. I know that we're getting information a lot to leave, but let me find out this from you, because in case in some countries we have seen where there seems to be lockdown, and the government is restricted. Now we're saying, okay, social distancing and all that. Malls will be restricted. Now in FCT and some places they say malls without sanitizers should be closed.
Exactly.
And we operate open market system in Nigeria particularly.
Exactly.
So how do we do this?
You know, so again, I still think, because there was one suggestion somebody even made at even social gatherings to even have a spacing if you can do that as much as possible. Talking about open marketing, I know there's been a lot to convert all of these online, but the regular, you know, we're not talking about the elite now. We're talking about the common man.
Exactly, yes.
The common man who has to go to the market to get stuff and you know for their family and all of that. I think for now, again, I would say, thankfully here in the FCT, we're not seeing any cases yet. But I think people should, again, just avoid crowded areas. If you're going to a public place and someone is coughing, stay away from them. Just that social distancing. Make sure you have just the right hand hygiene, as well as don't touch your face and all of that, and you'll be good. Go pick up what you need and then go back home. Don't spend too much time in public places. So if I go to the market, where you spend a lot of time, if you're trying to get everything you need, just get what you need, get back home, just what you would usually do, and then extend a hand of love to other people. I think that is very essential.
You know, in Africa, in particular Nigeria, we seems to be very close-knitted family system. This is kind of changing our lifestyle and our culture.
It is. And secondly, and if in the developed worlds where that is actually a thing, it's normal to not be so close to people, they're actually yearning. They're now seeing the need for contact, because now you can't go to work, so you don't have your colleagues at work anymore to have that kind of social interaction. You can't go to the clubs, you can't go to the drinking bars, and now the religious areas, and that's a big issue. Now people are calling their mothers, who they haven't called in weeks, and checking on them. So it just also beckons to everybody that we need each other. We're social beings. We exist in a social environment, and taking that away from anybody. I was just telling someone, I was at the book launch, and then I wanted to shake them, and they actually gave me a knuckle. I didn't know the effect it had on me, but I was so sad when I went home, because I didn't realize how much contact with another human body could be, and its significance to my existence and my mental health. So basically, just to everybody, just keep that hope alive. And I know that in a very short time, this will become a thing of the past.
Do you have medical personnel that are knowledgeable in Nigeria?
Oh, I believe so. I think, and I'll tell you something else. COVID, to be very honest, our frontline workers at least know the basic of infection prevention control, just basically infection control in country. And it's just this basic thing. It's like I keep saying, thankfully, it's not something I have to buy. I just have to wash my hands and I'll be good. So yes, we are knowledgeable for this. Talking about research, I hear in Lagos they're doing some research with COVID and chloroquine as well. Yes, we have brilliant minds.
And there was this information about Professor Maurice Iwu that came up with his own antidote, but still, because it's not recognized by WHO.
Again, like I said, a lot of people would go into their, back to make sure that this, a solution is preferred. And that's a good thing because the solution is in here in the world, okay? And when that happens, we'll get a good news. But so far, until it's approved, please, no rumors of you found something that works.
All right, briefly, because we must leave. Give us a few basic things people must do to avoid contacting this or spreading this.
Okay, so first things, as we all know, it's actually laden on surfaces. So please, as much as possible, I know I've been touching your table here, but as much as possible, let's try and keep away from surfaces, disinfect your surfaces, wash your hands. That's the big thing. Dry with a clean towel as much as possible. Social distancing, as you can see, myself and Patrick, we have a very, very, ample distance between us,
yeah.
okay? If you're coughing, the good etiquette is this, or basically, if you have a tissue, avoid handkerchiefs, just cover that and dispose of it appropriately in the tight bin. If you have any symptoms, like we've published the numbers on screen, please do call and then just love each other, basically. And then no panic, no fear, no anxiety. I think that is very critical.
That can kill faster than even the COVID.
And then if you've just come back from an infected country, or you just come back, some international flights, as much as possible. And I would like to say that, I even have a colleague of mine who's actually just came back, and because of the love of other people, they're actually self-isolating for about 14 days. So you just stay indoors, whatever you want, ask people to bring it to you and deliver. I just see until
I know time is
clear.
not on our side, we have to go, but the issue
things.
about closing all our airports for people coming in is another issue.
That's another issue, but it's a trade-off.
So many Nigerians want to come.
Yeah, so many Nigerians want to come back, and we do love everybody, okay? But again, it's a public health strategy to curb this spread. So let's just cooperate with the government, let's cooperate with the health world, and I know everything will get better.
All right.
Yes.
We must. It's time to leave. I wish we can, because there's so much information to pass across to you, but time is excellent. So we must leave other programs to continue. But if you've joined us, if you enjoyed this, join us next week. Like I said, keep sending your messages, and we hope that by this time next week, we'll overcome this issue.
Better news. Good news from here on.
That there should be good news. Yes. And just like the good news we started with, the Italian guy that is discharged from the hospital, so many will also be discharged, will be free from this COVID-19 menace. Until we come your way again next week. Okay, so until we come your way again next week. But first of all, I'll get it signed. Let's get this number again for you to call the toll-free number. Yes. Please quickly get the number. There is a WhatsApp number there. You can send WhatsApp messages. You can call this number free and give information or ask questions you need to us. Only call when there's need.
Exactly.
Please don't, so other people can call. We must leave, really. Until next week, we say thanks for staying tuned. Bye for now.